What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel. My name's Josh. I'm the coach, captain, and leader of the Young and the Golden. I am here to talk about my team and the moves I'm making and the round that was. Geez, what a round. But before I do, just want to let you know you can find me over on X, the Lockout Pod, as my podcast with my mates, and then also at Josh, the Lockout Pod, over on X as well. Link will be in the description. But as always, let's jump on in. And while you do that, and while we load in, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. So here you can see this is the home page. You can see I scored 2136, which had me ranked in the top 1% of coaches last round. Pretty happy with that, actually. And then I'm now into a season rank of 8,114. Came in 19,000 places and have a value of 12.23 mil. So I feel like the team is looking decent. I did use my first boost last round as well, so let's jump in and have a look at what the team looks like as it currently stands before the round tonight. So here we have at the top there, you can see I've got 44,000 in salary. I've got 31 trades left. I've used one boost, as you can see, and I've got 2 trades remaining. We'll talk about what those trades might be in a little bit, but first I want to talk about the round that was. And from a defensive standpoint, I think I got a lot of things right, except for this Closey. Traded him in, but I couldn't. Unfortunately, I had Howes, who played on the Thursday night, on my field instead of having Closey. I thought Howes was on the bench. Another round stuffed up by my lack of detail. But something that was quite good is that I got Closey in. I just didn't get the benefit of his 124, which sucks. We then had Harry Sheezel, who was phenomenal again, so 159 there, and he just looked like he wanted it all. He was the Nick Dacos, give it to me, and was looking angry when they weren't giving it to him. So amazing to see that 159 from Sheezel, and continues to be just an absolute smash pick. What's he averaging at the moment? Let's have a look. Averaging, oh God, where is it? Average score of 130. So he is absolutely lighting it up at the moment. Then we had Lockie Whitfield with the 109. Lots of ball, but lots of handballs. So, the handball over the top, I think he was pretty big in the game, but obviously wasn't scored as highly for it. Had the 109 there and kind of averaging that 109.2. So pretty consistent with what we'd expect from him. Has games against Carlton this week, Brisbane next week, and Sydney. Historically has not scored well against Carlton by the looks of it. Brisbane okay. And then Sydney might be a bit of a tougher start. But what did he go? He had, let's check fantasy stats here, 19 kicks, 15 handballs. He had the 9 marks and 2 tackles for that 109. So, some play there. It looks as if he's projected to score 101 against Carlton, which would seem lose some money. So let's hope that doesn't happen. That he can beat that break even and continue to generate some cash. But he's been a great starting pick there along with Sheezel. And then we brought Elliot Yeo in, not last week before, and bang, did he score with that 157, which was actually so good to see, and provided a lot of cover as I had Dacos on a bye. So that was quite good from him. Love seeing the 157 from him there. We had Massimo D'Ambrosio. Look, I think it's almost time for Muss to go. He's given us a good innings, but I've really missed that first 2 big scores, the 122 and then what was the second score, the 87. I've missed those 2 scoring. I have him averaging over the last 3 rounds at a 75. So not ideal for the play that I got him for, and someone that I feel really comfortable moving on this week, and going from there. We then jumped into Zachy Williams, and my God, did Zach Williams look better this game, but he did his typical great first half and fade for the second. So finished on 92. I mean, it's great because he beat that break even, continued to move. He's got a break even of 6 going into this game. So I think that's quite positive. and he's going to continue to make cash. So I think he's someone you can hold, and looked pretty fieldable. I think he had his best game, and I see him probably doing better with the injuries to McGovern and also, who was the other one, Sard. I think he's someone that's going to benefit. Feel like he's really had to be that person that was quite accountable to his opponent. And so I think that's probably hampering him a little bit, but I want to see him play out a full game. I did a tweet during the game when I saw that he was on 38 fantasy points. I'm not sure what he was on in the second quarter of SuperCoach, but it was on about 38 fantasy points, and I said, is he going to punish the people that traded him out? And I think a lot of people, if you look here, probably did get rid of him. Let's see if we can figure that out. Traded out. How would we find this? Traded out in round 6. Oh, that's probably, that's the one that's just gone. But 657, so more coaches still trading him out. I wonder where I can... selections, maybe? That's just... Okay, can't trade it out for... Yeah, so there's some trades there. Oh, Isaac Heaney being brought in by people. 92 from Zachy Williams. Then we had, as I said, Blake Howes, who I mistakenly left on the field. Scored a 62, which wasn't fantastic. Annoying seeing that closey 124 sitting there. But 62, beat his break even. He's going to continue to make money. I think this is a bloke that actually has kind of revived himself a little bit because Salem is out. And I think that's probably going to free him up a little bit to score better. He scored better when Salem wasn't in the team. So someone to keep an eye on, and absolutely someone that you don't have to trade. I am going to move him onto the bench, though, with my my E on him. And we'll look to get Reed on if he ends up going really well. So that was my defense. As I said, missed out on the 124, but overall not so bad. Massimo in the firing this week. Not in the firing, but could potentially go this week. And then we will look to structure up from there. I'm just kind of biding time till we get to the end of round 6, where I'm going to get Martin to go back. We'll have Matty Roberts who'll get DPP as well, so he could go back. You'll have Zach Fisher who can go back. McKercher probably will get defensive. If he plays or not, but McKercher might be someone that needs to make his way out of the team. Let's move on into the midfield line, and you can see here I got hit with the Bont. A 73 from the Bont was just not what you want to see, and this is the kind of game that makes not starting with these high price players worth it and the right decision. But what we need to see is a big game from him this week. Him come out and fire. He's not someone that you're going to trade out. You're going to hold him. It just means that he's going to get cheap in a few weeks. You can see there, break even of, 164, 161. So unless he comes out and absolutely nails that, I don't really think that's going to happen. But he does have the Saints, and they do give up points. So that's tonight, that game. I'm recording this Thursday night after work. So it'd be interesting if he can go well there. I think he probably will. Then we had Zachy Butters. Zach Butters just, probably lucky to not be suspended this week, seeing as how Crouch got suspended, but played phenomenal. 130 from him. I think he's just putting it together. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that midfield and just that mix and if he can continue to do this. But it was kind of around this point last season that he absolutely went bananas in the midfield after kind of featuring more forward. So a 130 from him, continued to beat that break even. He has break even of 118, and he plays Collingwood, who did traditionally give up points. So hopefully he can continue that and go from there. So he did drop some cash last week there, went down 12k, but is projected to beat his break even and make some cash here. But again, not one that you're looking at trading, just someone that you're going to hold on through. We then went to my man, Jack Steele, and oh my God, watching this it was beautiful. He was everywhere. This guy looks like the Steele of old. I mean, averaging 130 Where's his average? 130. Doing that 2021 scoring that we love to see. I think he's absolutely been a smash pick, and you've got to be pretty happy if you started with him like I did. Now, an interesting pickup for me. I went and grabbed Took Miller 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago. Brought him in, and he's just been absolutely smashing it. I mean, he had an 87 the first week. I think I got him, but a 133 last week was phenomenal. Just really involved in all of the play for Gold Coast, and I really like seeing it. An average of 118 there, and it's just someone that's going to continue to score well. You can see a 109 break even. Is it 109? Yeah, 109 break even. So hopefully he goes out and beats that, and then that should drop down to an 86. Couple good rounds. He's got West Coast coming up there, as you can see, and Sydney up on Sunday. So if he can put up a good score here, back it up with against the West Coast, and then hit Brisbane, I think he should be well on his way to making some good cash. And if you got him in early, you're going to be riding that out. We then move on to look at Nick Martin. Now, this was an interesting game from Nick Martin, and not one that I really expected. Looking at his 100 there, I think he probably wasn't involved as much in this game as what I thought he would be. If we have a look at his stats, where is it? I mean, it definitely wasn't the big stats of his previous games, but what's that? 26 disposals against the Bulldogs there. 19 kicks, 6 handballs, and 4 marks. I think that's probably where you're seeing that drop off, right? You can see heaps more handballs, a few more disposals against the Saints, who give up some good scoring. But if we use the Port game as a bit of a barometer, bit of a Reece Matheson, a 133, he had that 18 kicks, but he had the 7 marks, which has been probably more his consistent spot, and 2 tackles. So didn't really get it as much across the stat lines here, and hopefully something he can work back towards. What I did see was him pushing more up that field, as I said, and a little bit more ball going to like your Redmond, also going to your Andy McGrath, and then Coxie, Nick Cox. He was doing a bit of a job on Darcy at times, and just kind of like really putting some work into him and trying to punish on that far wing, and that freed Redmond up to get that ball. I think Redmond's probably going to have to play a little bit more accountable against a Adelaide than what he probably would have against the Bulldogs and that Darcy. So let's hope he goes back to his scoring ways of what he was, because that scoring was phenomenal. If we have a look at Riley Sanders, bloody hell, we've talked about Bevo. Every fantasy coach, I saw Jaden Popowski, he tweeted out like a block names Bevo, so that you could not see it in your timeline. But everyone loves complaining about Bevo, and this is exactly why. He goes and subs out someone he's been talking up all preseason. Give the kid a go, mate. Like, there's plenty other players doing shit. You don't need to take off Riley Sanders, and you could see he gave him a bit of a spray as well. So hopefully that doesn't punish him for it, but hopefully he can get back out there and he gets another round and a really good run at it, because the kid looks good. He's hungry. He's got the energy to burn. Just give him the games, Bevo. And hopefully he can stay in our team for a little while longer. Also, he's going to have to put in about 45% down forward this round in order to meet that forward status for DPP with, champion data. So he's probably not going to get that one that we were maybe counting on, but not counting on, but looking at. So I think, definitely something to watch there. I had Sharpie on the field with a 54 because obviously had Roberts on bye. So Sharpie with a 54 was on for me. Not the 124 he scored the week before, but 54 was still a scoring score, and probably counted in my best. What's that? Which one dropped off? Oh, it might have dropped off, actually. Yeah, that probably dropped off, to be fair. The 54, but hopefully he can turn it around. They do have, who have they got coming up? West Coast this week, so he should get a bit of the ball, and hopefully he can turn it on. And then we had McKercher. Unfortunate here, obviously copped that big hit, Bruce Sternum from Jeremy. Who was it from? Jeremy Cameron. in that first quarter and got subbed off with a 6 here and a 2 in fantasy. Had him in both formats on field, so that kind of hurt there. But in a best 18 world, and with how popular he is as a pick, let's have a look at his selections. Where is it? Ownership. Where are we looking here? This is the one thing with SuperCoach that I don't know where everything is, but selections doesn't show me. Here, 65% of teams. So yeah, in 65% of teams, you got safety in numbers. I then had Dacos sitting on the bench. Had to do a bit of DPP to get Elliot Yeo up top after the stuff up with Howes. And then we had Matty Roberts also on a bye last week sitting on the bench. We had Darcy Wilson as our emergency sitting on 61. Would have been nice to get his score on field. But it looked good. And I think someone that's just continuing his cash generation. So if you have a look there, -3 break even, should still continue to make some money. If we have a look at some stats here really quickly, made 17k, so he's up 200, he's up to 204,000, and he is set to make another 26k if he has a 54. So I think he's probably looking more around, what would you say, projected score? Yeah, probably around that 60 mark, I reckon, is where he's at. He's looked good the last 2 weeks, so hopefully can score well. Then we moved it into the ruck line. Now, Gorn for me was my VC, and bloody hell was I happy to take that VC option there. Ended up throwing Naismith onto the field so that I could take that VC, and then had Marshall, who I brought in last week, scoring a 120 on debut, and you'd love to see it, honestly. It was delicious. But that 138 from Big Max continued to score well, beat his break even, and I think made some cash there, did he? Yeah, it made 29 grand. So showing why he is a great pick. Going up against Richmond, where he's had 174 against him, 123 in the past, 98. Let's hope it's more like that 170 next week. So he's on a bye this week, obviously. I've also got Naismith on a bye, but I have Marshall. So I will be playing one player down on field. I'm not going to trade in or trade Gorn. And I'm not going to get rid of... I thought about Naismith for like a Meek, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to wear the week with one down in my ruck, which is not great because I'm playing against people that have like a Jerry and a Grundy. So I expect to probably fade a few places. But I want to come out of these bye rounds really strong. Look to upgrade, not sideways trade, unlike all the other blokes on my podcast. So we'll get Marshall on the field here. He's absolutely going to be a vice captain, but he's not going to be a captain. That is probably going to be a Sheasel. And then we head into the forward line. Now, I think that this was a pretty common move, getting in a Sammy Flanders for a 116. Look, not bad. Hey, I think off that half back, he's looking all right. They look to get the ball in his hands and absolutely made some cash still, so that's positive. If we have a look at his stats here, 25 kicks, 9 handballs, 9 marks. Bit of waxing against the Hawks there. So I think that's probably why I'm going the captain on Cheese this week. But I think he was getting it done. Did cop a bit of Finn attention, but I don't think it was necessarily a tag. Just a little look at him in the first quarter or so before Finn went off to run his own race. But that Sammy Flanders was very popular last week. He was traded in for. He's been traded in for a McKercher, a Howes, so a lot of people making moves there. Interesting that Luke Jackson has been traded a lot. Then we moved into a Tom Powell. Tom Powell just getting it done again, like a 98. Absolutely showing he should be a top 2-3 forward, I reckon, with that 18 kick, 8 handball, 9 mark game against Geelong. He takes on Hawthorn this week, so he should absolutely feast. They're projecting him for a 99. He could easily put up something around more that 129 against the Freo there. Hopefully kicking into gear. So I think absolutely someone to watch. And absolutely, if you don't have him, you could look to get him in, although he is quite expensive now in a forward line. that doesn't have a lot of options. Look, this is the week that's really hard because it's will I bring in Heaney? Will I not bring in Heaney? And I think I've made myself very firm in the idea that I'm not going to bring in Heaney. I'm going to fade him for the season. I might look to bring him in maybe at the end of the year. But yeah, absolutely not someone that I'm looking to get in. We then look at Zach Fisher, scored an 84, put on more cash as well. Only a little bit now, though. That break-even is getting very tight, 66. So if he doesn't start scoring well, that's probably going to be a move on. Absolutely see what happens, though, with that DPP action. But at 84 from him, he's taking on the Hawks, so should get plenty of the ball. If he's anything like Flanders last week, then that could be a bit of a go. So hopefully he and YEOl really capitalise. And, you know, if McCurch is down back, he could too. But I think he's probably going to play more that high half-forward midfield role that they've been looking to roll him out in the last couple of weeks. We then jumped into Harley Reid, who had an absolute banger of a game. It was phenomenal to see him go against Richmond. I think he scored very well. Let's look at his stats. His best game so far, 11 kicks, 16 handballs, 3 marks, 1 tackle. He got a couple free kicks and he gave a free kick away, and he kicked that goal. So for his 108, that was a pretty great outcome. You drove your break-even right back down again to minus 18. And he's just being a pretty solid pick. I think he can absolutely sit around that F6 for you. Could even be F5, to be honest. We then moved into Dempsey, who had a harder round. Didn't score as well, has a 33 break-even now, so he's definitely someone that in a few rounds you could look to potentially move on. Isn't getting the high scores of the hundreds that he used to get, and he's averaging that 75.4. So absolutely, I mean, you're probably holding him, let's be real. He's in 24% of the teams. I don't know that there's any better rookies, but definitely someone that could be an option. I'm probably looking to swap him out with a Fife this week, but we'll see how that plays out. We got Sam Darcy. Look, Sam Darcy's an interesting one. Minus 23 break even. He's set to make bulk cash for the rest of, I guess, this season, to be honest, for a little while at the very least, averaging that 82.3. But for me, the thing that stands out is that he's doing a lot of time in the ruck, actually getting a bit of opportunity there. So if we have a look at his go against what is a pretty restrictive outfit in the Essendon Bombers ruck lineup, being that they run a Draper and a Goldstein. Scoring an 82, had 9 kicks, 4 handballs, 8 marks, huge marks. When you're playing on Redmond, who's given up 22 centimetres, it's not hard. 5 tackles. He did have those 7 hitouts, and I think we've seen probably an increase from him in the... I wonder if I can check this. Let's have a look at the Western Bulldogs and their CBAs. So if we have a look here, we had Tim English on 86%. Where's Sam Darcy? That 14%. I think Tim English is kind of struggling a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him chop out a little bit more. If he gets up to that 29-30% CBAs, he could be absolutely delicious coming in there. So someone to keep an eye on, and I'm absolutely happy with him sitting in my F6 at the minute. As I said, I'll probably get Dempsey off for 5. Let's just make that swap now. Now, I had Fifey on my bench at 81, so this could have been better if I had the right rookies, but I think I'm just looking at making cash. He's making cash. I think in a SuperCoach format, he's making a lot more sense as well, and he went up against that hard Port Adelaide outfit. This week against West Coast, he's played 17 times, high score of 158. If he can go anywhere near a 158, I doubt it, but maybe like a 90, like that 85-90 mark, that could be an absolute pick. So very interesting to see what he can do. And then we had Cadman playing here. He had the 7 kicks, 4 handballs, 1 mark, 7 tackle game against St Kilda. for that 64. Went up 30k, so still made some cash, and I think he's just going to continue to do that. Currently, break even sitting on 40, so once those two kind of match up, I'm going to chop him down, but I'm still going to let him make some cash here, and I think if we, wait maybe 2 weeks, he's not projected to really bottom out till about 328 against Essendon. If he can make another, 50 grand, you'd take that in a heartbeat. So absolutely, that's where their team is looking at the moment. Let's make some quick changes. I think, we'll play Dempsey as the emergency. Actually, let's close this off. When's GWS play there? So we might make... I don't have a way to loop this in. That's okay. Let's get McKercher off. Let's get Dacos into the back line again. Yo, you can come on for Sharpie. Although Sharp's playing... I might emergency him. And see how that goes. I think that's probably how we'd look to line up. We got the VC on Marshall, C on Sheasel. Now I'm in in two minds really. I'll be honest. I'm either looking to double downgrade, in which case I'd be trading out a Massimo D'Ambrosio. Actually, you know what? Let's have a look at. I wonder if I go players. If we go coach's choice. So Will Graham, 35% of teams brought in. Closey, if you don't have him, you can absolutely bring him in before he goes up the cash because he's going to make bulk cash. Combin also, look, I wouldn't probably be messing around with a Combin. Walshy is someone who, we're in upgrade season. The reason people are thinking about not upgrading is because double downgrading last week seemed to work out quite well. If you can double downgrade and get some good players on, I think that's probably a good move to make. Someone like let's have a look and see. Hugo Garcia is an option to downgrade to in that midfield. If you've got like a Jai Clark, absolutely someone you could get down to. So people are bringing in a Blake Drury. Look, I don't think this role is maintainable. He scored a 78, is it? Let's have a look at him. Minus 30 break even. He's scored a 78. I just don't think that was probably... he was better in fantasy, but I don't think that's probably a score that you want to look at or someone that you necessarily have to go after. Dane Zorko, coaches were rewarded when you went for him with the 117 last week. I think he played quite well. The only concern is that he is obviously an injury risk with that. So absolutely keep an eye. But probably not someone I'm looking at. Jason Horne-Francis was someone that was brought in and probably didn't have the game that we thought he would. A 93 probably could have gone a little bit better. So he does have Collingwood though, so that's an interesting one. Plus they do have that nice buy, so you could absolutely look at him. Luke Ryan, my God, this man is just feasting at the moment. Crazy that people are just loading up on him. My mate went early on Jeremy Cameron last week in the forward line, needed a forward option. He looked really good, scored well. What did he get last week? 140, I think it is. 140 in round 5. You don't mind reading about it. Harvey Thomas is an interesting one. Probably kickstarted his cash growth, and you can see there went up 42k with his 86. So probably rules him out now. Zachy Merritt, this is a bloke that I really want. He's someone that I want to trade into. It's just whether or not I wait till next week or I go this week. He does have Adelaide, which is, I think that's a little bit of a harder matchup and might be interesting. but he has an amazing run coming up. So definitely someone that I'm looking into. Maybe that's a next week. If I double downgrade this week, get some cash, double upgrade next week. Bradley Hill is an interesting one. We spoke about him on the podcast. A 132 was amazing. Is this his standard? I don't think so. But he kind of has had this role where he does what he wants. So he could absolutely be an option. Look at his stats here. 24 kicks, 9 handballs, 13 marks. Not going to have that every week, but you can see that there's been a role change that he kind of spoke about as well in the post-game interview. So if it's something around this, I think you could absolutely go on him if you believe in it. Isaac Rankin is another great option to trade into. Kind of that 454 mark. I believe he is someone that's going to play more midfield, but the only problem with an Isaac Rankin is that you are dealing with an unsettled kind of a Adelaide midfield that's all over the place. Crouch is out. They ran Saligo and Isaac Rankin through there. I think if we have a look at the Adelaide CBAs, here we go. Where are we? Yeah, Saligo and Rankin 61%, so huge jumps. I think you take out Matt Crouch's 55%, you can see there's a clear drop off there where Saligo has taken a lot of those. Rankin might be the one that gets boosted by that as well, so you could see those two take a line share, or even a Berry who's probably going to come in for him, getting a fair chunk of those. So I'm just probably a stay away from Adelaide midfield just because of the uncertainty. Parfitt looked good. Tom Powell, if you don't have him, he's probably too expensive now. Rayner interests me. If that's going to be a midfield role moving forward, he was instrumental. And you can see there that 137 obviously scored quite well. Hayden Young is a big one. I wish I didn't trade out of him, but absolutely someone I wouldn't be afraid of trading back into. He really punished us coaches for trading him out, but that's okay. I think that's probably it. Jerry, obviously, you could go into if you're looking for a ruck option. What else? Durham's interesting because he did that number on Bont, but I just don't think he's someone that you can really go for. Lloyd Meeker, the 401. Xavier Dersma might be another option as well. I'm very biased, but has looked really good the last couple of rounds, and you can see there a 116 and a 101. So he could absolutely go and score well against Adelaide on that wing. Has definitely locked that place down. There's some players to have a think about. For me, I'm probably thinking it's more... Game Day, my team. I'm probably thinking it's more of a double downgrade. So I'm probably... I'll look this in the next hour or so, but trade out Massimo. Wonder if I swap him in there. Trade out a McKercher. And with that, I'd bring in a Graham. Graham into there. And who else would I probably bring in from a rookie standpoint? Average... See, I'm 30k short of a Walsh. So I could go another double downgrade and maybe like a double downgrade. Maybe do a double downgrade. I mean, you could get rid of Sanders, but I just think that's probably a hold. Double downgrade. And then, I mean, I could chop out a Cadman down to someone. I wonder what that would look like if I activate my boost. Let's activate it. If we then trade that. And I need a forward option, which I think I'd go Biggie. Big goer. Nguyen. And I could then go a Walsh. Or, oof, that's tough. Can you imagine? That could be what I look at. Let's lock that in for now. Or actually, let me just look at and see what it looks like with Walshy. 576. That's probably better decision. Carry 117k into next week. If we did that. So if we did that, we got... Yeah, let's just complete that one. I mean, I can always undo the changes. I just got to remember to do it before 7:30. If we did that, then we could go swap a Sharp with a Walsh. We got Gold Coast. Who's Gold Coast playing? Sydney. Probably not that. I'd probably sub a Sharp on potentially. That could be a look there. Yeah, that could be the go. Geez, that doesn't look too bad, does it? That does not look too bad. Wowzers. I mean, that makes the team look a lot better. We've still got, 3 rookies on field. 5 rookies on field. Yeah, that could be what we look at doing. So I might leave it as that. I think it's going to be an interesting round. Final round of best 18 as we wrap these buys up. You can see most traded out or most traded in, not my team. We got Combin, Heaney, Garcia. Oh, Garcia could be one as well. Oh. I could undo the changes. I could, trade Zach Reed down to a Hugo... Sorry, Reed to Graham. Reed to Graham. Then do... Reed to Graham. I wonder if we do that. Let's... come on, load. So we go undo changes. What if I updated this trade and rather than it being cancel, undo changes, and what if I doesn't leave me enough. Alright, we might have to fix that up. Yeah. But I think that's probably what I'll look at doing. I do want Walsh. I think that 166 is nice, but I think what I wanted at the start of the season was a bloke that was undervalued. And now if I get him in now. I'm still getting that same player. Sure. Have we had a injury? Yes, we have. But we've got an upgrade. I think that midfield's looking a lot better there if we do this. Our defense is looking okay. And Closey will go to the bench. Howes will be on the bench. You'll get Martin into the back line. So our defense will be Sheasel, Dacos, Whitfield, Yeo, Martin, and then a Z-Will at D6 with a Closey on the bench, Howes on the bench, Reed out. Our midfield will look something like Bont, Butters, Steele, Took, Walsh, Roberts, who I think is still fieldable. Maybe like a Sanders or a Graham, one of those two. I think probably a Graham because Bevo's unreliable. And then we'll have a Marshall Gawn, Ruck, with Sam Flanders, Powell, Fisher, a Reed, Wilson, Darcy, maybe forward line. So I think, there's some options there. I think that's probably where I'm thinking. I want to come out of this round with another... I need to make the decision where I come out of this round double downgrading or triple downgrading, which I don't really want to triple downgrade, but double downgrade and stock some cash. Or do I upgrade and get a player like a Walsh who is phenomenal? Or I could even go further up. I mean, you're paying top dollar, but you've got someone like a what's his name? Zach Merritt. Let's just quickly... If we look at the fixture really quickly, just for Essendon, team Essendon. So you've got... Where is it? Let's get to where we are. So we've got the Crows, bit of a tougher matchup. Bulk points, tougher matchup. Big points, massive points, big points, big points, big points again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 easier matchups, one hard one in the next 9. I think that's probably the go. Carlton do have a tougher run if we have a look at them really quickly. So Carlton have, obviously, they've got the Giants this week. Then they go to the Cats. Not too hard. Easy, little restrictive, easier, hard. And then we give up points, so that's probably easy as well. So, much for the muchness, but I think absolutely Walsh or Merritt are probably who I'm going to bring in. It's just whether or not I go early on those midfield spots, or do I wait for some of those other players to bottom out. Say if a Dawson, let's have a look at this really quickly before I wrap this up because this has gone on way too long. If a Jordan Dawson does not start scoring, he's got a 131 break even. He's projected to lose a heap of cash. If I get him in 2 weeks, or by that North game, actually probably after the Port game, 457k I could get him for. That is literally going to be a Roberts up. If we have a look, what's Roberts scheduled to make by round 10? Who was I looking for? Dawson was who I was looking at. What round did that get super cheap? After Port Adelaide. Round 9 is when we want to look. So let's have a look at Roberts' round 9. Against Freo, he'll be 394k. 50k, guys. 50k. If Dawson keeps sucking, it'll be 50k away from a direct upgrade from Roberts. I think that's too hard to pass up. But I think that's probably a later down the line move. For now, I'm probably looking at doing what I've just done now, which is a Walsh in. Make sure I get that cash den of Graham. Make sure I also get that biggie point scoring as well as cash coming up. Because if we look at his break even, he's got minus 41. Scheduled to make some bulk cash there. And I think the only job security concern is Pink comes back, but I think he's easily got Pink covered. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. think that's going to wrap it up. Let me know in the comment section below, what were your trades for this week? What are you thinking? Also, where should I upgrade? Do you think I should lock in that Walsh trade? Do you think I should go Merritt? Actually, that's the question for you. Is it Walsh or is it Merritt? Is that the upgrade target for this week? Let me know in the comment section below. While you're there, don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Look, we really appreciate all the views on the channel. I'm loving putting out the content. Hopefully you're finding it useful. But let us know in the comment section below anything you'd like to see, if you want us to go a little bit more in depth. And then one last shameless plug for the podcast, the Lockout Pod over on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Go check it out. A couple of boys talking some banter, talking some AFL footy, and having a look at the fantasy landscape. And then if you're interested in a SuperCoach one, let me know that as well. I'd absolutely love to be putting out more content for you. Find a lot of value in this community and think it's an amazing place. So I want to contribute as much as I can. As always, thank you for watching, and you know the drill. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.